Well, hello everybody, and it's eclipse time. Woohoo! And boy, do we have an eclipse time coming up, and the rest of the year. And I'll explain why in a minute, but just know that this eclipse that we have coming up on April the 20th, at 29 degrees Aries is a biggie. A solar hybrid eclipse. I'll explain what that means. I'll explain what the degrees mean. I'll explain all of that. But first of all, let me introduce myself if you've not been here before. I'm Louise Eddington, the Cosmic Owl of Cosmic Owl Astrology. And there's the Cosmic Owl, and I actually have some Cosmic Owl goodies in a store now on my YouTube channel, if you're interested. I do mugs, bags, t-shirts, no obligation, but if you feel like it, they're kind of fun. There's a lovely mug with some rays around it. There's two kinds of mugs. There's all kinds of stuff. If you want to have a look, if you feel like buying yourself a little treat, I happen to think my logo, done by the wonderful Chloe Plasma artist, is an amazing logo anyway. Otherwise, please, please, please subscribe to my channel. Give me a thumbs up. Leave me a comment. Maybe check the little bell to get notified when I upload new content. All of this helps the algorithms with YouTube. But in the meantime, thank you to all of you that leave me comments regularly and leave me those thumbs up. I really appreciate all the support on my YouTube channel, no matter where you are in the world. I know I've got listeners from everywhere. Okie dokie. Speaking of bokey, I pulled a card for this eclipse because it is huge. And I am using the Red Seeds Tarot, the Eleusinian Mysteries by Linda Hill. They're available on Etsy from the UK. And these cards are based on the Eleusinian Mysteries and the story of Demeter and Persephone, or Ceres and Persephone. And it's kind of amusing because I have my She Who Is calendar behind me, created by She Who Is. I'm not an affiliate for her calendar. I love her art. And today is the Ascension of Persephone Day. And whoa, are we ascending or what? I have to tell you, the rest of the year and this eclipse season is big, and of course that can bring challenges, but I also think we are really turning a corner and moving into this new paradigm, whatever that's going to look like. But we are being given major opportunities to really create a better future, and I actually feel confident that we are going to create a better future. So the card I pulled for this eclipse, before we look at the chart, the Ace of Seeds. There we go. Okay. And this is I Am Inception. So the solar eclipse is a new moon eclipse. So it is new beginnings, and it's a new beginning in so many ways. But let me read to you about this card. So first is a quote from Robert Louis Stevenson. Don't judge each day by the harvest you reap, but by the seeds that you plant. And in the Eleusinian Mysteries, when Persephone ate the pomegranate seeds, it bound her into a sacred marriage to Hades and the underworld. Those that ate in such a place were never allowed to leave. The pomegranate seeds depict fertility, sexuality, and abundance, and its dark red juices metaphor the blood that connects us all, the red thread. The eating of the seeds brought about the creation of the seasons and instigated the Eleusinian Mysteries. And the soul journey from these cards. This is the Ace of Pentacles, by the way, in a lot of decks, but in this is the Ace of Seeds. On the soul journey, we find ourselves in the early stages of manifestation, which may lead to minor or major changes in our lives. Are we considering starting something new? At this time, we stand grounded on the earth and being made aware of the possibilities of rich pastures and harvests ahead. Our ideas are seeds deep in the earth, waiting for this right time to grow into seedlings. All they need is a boost of inspiration to grow. This energy also describes our physicality and all its needs, such as finances, sexuality, and health. Perhaps some of these areas are in need of attention and growth. If so, then pay attention to these parts of life that need tending. Determination, strength, patience, and hard work is called for to harness this fertile, abundant earth energy. The seeds of creativity, beginnings, and opportunities are deep within us and are given to share with the world. Plant the seeds well. And that really kind of sums up the whole vibe of this of this eclipse to me. Now, first of all, I will say this is an Aries eclipse, which is fire. It's the second new moon in Aries. We had a new moon at 0 Aries, and this new moon is at 29 degrees Aries, the first and last degrees. And you're like, you picked an earth card. Well, the North Node is still in Taurus, an earth sign. So I'll talk about that a little bit. But first of all, about Aries. Aries is the first sign. It's pioneering, it's fire, it's creation, it's energy, it's will, it's drive, it's the self. And we are being called to really take action to create the new paradigm that we're moving into. Okay. And then we have a new moon. This is a sun and moon together, which is a new beginning, and it's an eclipse. And I want to talk to you about what a hybrid eclipse is. Now, a hybrid eclipse is both an annular eclipse, where we get the ring of fire around it, and a total eclipse. It moves through both. So it's kind of like a double eclipse in many ways. Now, this eclipse, I believe, is only visible kind of over the areas of the Antarctic, which is a little bit concerning for the ice shelf, but let's not go there, because where an eclipse is visible from, or where the totality goes over, is often the area that's most impacted. But let's ignore that and just talk about our personal growth. We are in such amazing times, but we're going to look at the chart quickly first. Okay. Let me get rid of that bit there and then make it so that you can actually see it. There we go. All right. So for those listening on the podcast, I'll try and describe what I'm looking at as well so that you can understand. But we have this eclipse. It's at the very last degree of Aries, 29 degrees and 50 minutes. Its sun and moon are conjunct at 29 degrees. Then it's conjunct Eris, the shit stirrer, at 24 degrees Aries, can conjunct Jupiter at 23 degrees Aries. So this is a big eclipse. Jupiter expands everything. Eris is there in Aries. She's been stirring the pot since the 1920s in the sign of Aries. She's been very active over the last few years, but this is going to shake things up. And that's not always a bad thing. Sometimes, you know, the shakeups can be unpleasant, but sometimes they're really necessary. And thinking about where we are, I'm recording this on April the 3rd. April the 4th tomorrow is the day where the former president, 45, President Trump, is being arraigned on charges. I predict there's going to be some more charges coming. The 0 Aries brought this new start, and 29 degrees Aries eclipse, I think, is going to bring more charges, more news around those areas, but not just talking about him. I think this is the beginning of the end of this major chaos and struggle that we've been through, and that things are going to change. I'm very optimistic about this. And we have Jupiter there conjunct this new moon as well, and conjunct Eris. And really, he's the greater benefic. He's bringing a lot of luck. But why else do I think that this is important? And I'll talk more about what all this means in a minute. We have it's a north node eclipse. So we're moving towards what we long to move towards, what we yearn for, what our karmic potential is. And that is in Taurus, in a more sustainable and solid and stable future. You know, we're having some birthing pangs and things getting there, sure, but that's what our north node in Taurus is asking us to do. And then we have, in opposition to this new moon eclipse, we have Haumea. She's just out of sign at 0 degrees of Scorpio, and she's in a square to Pluto, so is this new moon eclipse. This is activating the Pluto-Haumea square that we're going to have 12 times between, well, there was one last May in 2022, and the last one will be in January 2027. I'm going to write a whole article on that, so look for that. In fact, by the time you listen to this, the article should be out. I'll be posting that on my Facebook. I'll be writing it on my Substack blog. So if you want to subscribe for free on my Substack, you can do that. That's in the comments below. And but there's more. Haumea is not just opposing this new moon eclipse. Last October, we had the first Libra star point that's going to be for 100, active for over 100 years. That was on, and the star point is a Venus-Sun conjunction. That was at 29 Libra 36, so almost exactly opposing this eclipse. And that Libra star point is starting a new era as well. So everything is changing this year, and this eclipse is going to bring massive change. But not only that, that star point last October the 22nd, 2022, was conjunct Haumea by 2 minutes. So this eclipse is just rebirthing. Haumea is the goddess of creation. She is pure birth and creation and fertility. So we are really being asked to birth something new on this eclipse. Other things that stand out to me on this chart, well, we have the square to Pluto, the transformation agent, who's at 0 Aquarius until July the 11th, right through this eclipse period. He will be moving back into Capricorn. Haumea will be moving back into Libra, but those two are working in tandem to really transform and birth a new paradigm. And this eclipse is activating both of those. Other things that jump out are that we also have Sedna at 29 degrees Taurus, a semi-sextile almost exactly to this eclipse. And Sedna represents huge cycles of change for humanity and for the planet. Haumea was last where she is now at the end of the Great Ice Ages over 11,000 years ago. And she will be shifting signs into Gemini this year. Haumea will finally fully move into Scorpio this year. Pluto will finally move into Aquarius next year. Big, big changes. Other things though, this eclipse is also in a quincunx to Ceres in Virgo. And Ceres is very associated with the sign of Virgo. She is the great mother. We are being asked to learn to nurture the land. I'll talk more about that. One last thing, or two last things before I just talk and look at the numbers and things like that as well. We also have a square to Pallas Athena, the wise owl in Cancer, and she is giving us the strategies and the creative intelligence to solve our problems and create a greater base of security. And then finally at 0 degrees, because the 0 degree mark is so hot on this degree, we have Pluto at 0 degrees, we have Haumea at 0 degrees. We also have Vesta at 2 degrees Taurus, but she is the sacred flame. She has just been at 0 degrees. But we have Persephone herself on this ascensional Persephone day at 0 Virgo, conjunct Black Moon Lilith at 0 Virgo, conjunct Regulus at 0 Virgo. We are entering the age of the divine feminine. And I don't mean that we are going to suddenly have women taking power over men. This is moving into an age of more love, more connectedness, more receptivity, more understanding, and the fact that Persephone, who lost her innocence and then came into her wholeness, she ate her pomegranate seeds and married Pluto, Hades, who's at 0 degrees, and and then Black Moon Lilith was the original divine feminine. She was made from the same dirt as Adam. They are coming together at that 0 fool's number, the infinite possibilities. Let's stop the share, and now I'm just going to talk about everything. This is such an amazing full moon, new moon, full moon. Anyway, let's quickly look at the numbers. Then I just want to talk about a lot of things. So this is number 11, 29, 2 plus 9 is 11. Firstly, 2 is the number of the divine feminine and 9 is the number of endings. So in my opinion, this is saying we are coming to an end of an era and moving into the divine feminine era. The 29th degree is always a really critical degree. It's the anaretic degree. It's a liminal space before we move into something new. We're leaving something old behind. In Aries, I believe we're leaving behind this tendency to think that we are alone. We are that sovereign. I'm sorry, I've grown to hate that word sovereignty. Sure, we have sovereignty of how we respond to things and the choices we make in life, but we are not sovereign in the world. Everything is interconnected, and we are being invited more and more to remember that. But these numbers 2 and 9 add up to 11, which most people know is a gateway number. It's the karmic master teacher. It's the number of illumination, of enlightenment, of inspirational idealism and channeling. And it's highly energized, radical, sensitive, visionary, enthusiastic, and creative. It's a gateway. We are being invited into a gateway into this more sustainable life, with that node, north node, still over there in Taurus. Right after this eclipse, first the moon, then the sun will move into Taurus and connect with that north node. Quite amazing. If you want to connect with this energy on the new moon eclipse, the colors of the number 11 are silver, glossy white, black, or violet. Okay, and it's Archangel Uriel if you're into those kind of things as well. It's also the tarot card Justice, and I'll talk more about what that might mean in a minute. But it's associated as well with the signs of Aquarius and Sagittarius. And I think we're in the age of Aquarius now. We're still kind of settling in those big birthing pangs and what's this new age going to look like. But I think we're kind of right there in terms of the big numbers of years, bearing in mind an astrological age is over 2,000 years long. We are kind of there, but we are like little babies kind of learning how to walk in this new kind of energy and things. Now then, the sign of Aries, we have this powerful eclipse in the sign of Aries. I mentioned that it's the hybrid eclipse, that it's in these changing times, that it's an annular eclipse and then a total eclipse. It changes from one to the both. This is the last set of eclipses with the nodes in Taurus and Scorpio. This year we are shifting the nodes back into, the south node will move into Libra and the north node into Aries. And this is a preview of what the next 19 months after July, because that's what July the 17th is when the node shift is bringing. This eclipse is kind of straddling two eras, two changes for so many reasons. Because of that opposition to that 29 Libra star point, this is pushing us into this balance between this belief that we have utter sovereignty and our interpersonal relationships. We are being asked to remember that we are always connected with those interpersonal relationships. Extreme self-interest is meeting the sword of justice, you could say, because Libra is the sign of justice. And that brings me to the justice card of the number 11. We are being asked to balance. If you think about the 11, it's the two numbers side by side, the gateway to possibility, moving in together as well. And it could be also be the pillars of Solomon, which, you know, Boaz and Joachim, you can look up those as well. You know, we've always got the light, the dark, all the union of opposites. And this new moon is hurtling us into an age of the union of opposites and showing us all these possibilities. All right, so bear with me again. I just want to go back to talking about some more. I think the fact that this new moon is at the very last degree of Aries is really telling us we are at the age of end of this age of extreme self-interest. I really think that the oligarchs, for example, are on their way out. I really think that the billionaires and the authoritarians are on their way out with this. Yes, we have the North Node moving back into Aries in July, which you would think might be telling us that we're moving towards extreme self-interest. I disagree. I think we're being asked to see our part in this interconnectedness, because the nodes can never separate between the tail and the head. We can't cut the tail off to reach to the head. We are moving to understanding the self and to really knowing the self and knowing our part in justice, in our relationships and in partnership with all that lives. All right. And Eris, she supported outsiders. She was an outsider herself. A lot of people describe her as hate, and she could be a little bit hateful, but she hated the artifice and the unfairness of humanity. I see Eris in some ways as the ultimate kind of activist. She wanted to point out the selfishness, the greed, the artifice of the elites, if you like. This is why I think this new moon is going to start to bring an end to the Donald Trumps, to the Elon Musks, to these people who are me, and who have far too much of everything in the world. Okay, and we are going to move towards a more egalitarian age. And I know I'm a dreamer, but I know I'm not the only one. And the astrology tells me that we are on the way out of this over time. This is a big step, okay? And we are moving into a more loving, creative age. And then we have the quincunx to Ceres from this new moon. And Ceres, the great mother, She is a dwarf planet. She is not an asteroid. She's in Virgo. She is there. She is whole unto herself. And she is saying we are moving back into wholeness. We are moving back into a more meaningful world where we take care of each other, where we're useful to each other, where we're useful to the earth, where we are stopping all this like me, I'm the only one that matters. And we are coming into being more the energy of the priestess. And that applies whether you're masculine or feminine, identified. It doesn't matter. We're all moving into that. Of course, we're seeing kind of the the resistance to this change. That's why we have this rise in the Putins and the Trumps of people of this world, because they had to come in our faces to end. We had to see this, and we are doing. Putin has been Putin has been I'm going to ignore that. Putin has he's going to be arrested for war crimes if he leaves Russia. Trump is being indicted tomorrow. I think there's way more of this kind of stuff to come. Excuse me while I just pause this. Oh, the perils of recording at home. And I'm not going to start again. That was my alarm in my bedroom going off, and I never use it. That was very weird. Anyway, so other things. I talked about Lilith, Regulus, and Persephone. All right, being at 0 degrees of Virgo, again, the sign of the priestess, the sign of meaningful, useful work, the sign of service, not servitude. It can be, but we're going to move into a sign of true service. The Pluto and Virgo generation are loving this energy, by the way, and that's me. But Regulus moves about a degree about 72 every 72 years. She's one of the fixed stars, so the star doesn't actually move. It's we that move, but and it's the precession of the zodiacs. But anyway, the star Regulus, the sign of the ruler, royalty, if you like, the royal star, moved into the sign of Virgo in either the end of 2011 or early 2012, depending on who you listen to. So we've been moving into this Virgoan age for quite a while, and it's moved out of the sign of Leo, the sign of, I'm the king, I'm the queen, I'm the leader, and all these things, into this sign, the priestess of service and connection, an earth sign, a yin sign. And here we have Persephone herself. She's gone into the underground. She's lost her innocence, but she's come to acceptance of her full humanity. She was in partnership with Hades, which is Pluto. They had a happy, healthy marriage. And here she is with Lilith as well, Black Moon Lilith, who was the shamed, enraged, rejected original female. Again, this is nothing to do with men and women. This is to do with the energy of the divine feminine rising up and taking its rightful place. And yet here we have this full moon that's in a fire sign, which is masculine, and then Haumea in the sign of Scorpio, which is the divine feminine sign. And the Aries energy is about to move into Taurus, the earth sign, if that makes sense. Everything is moving into this more yin energy, except Pluto, which is moving into Aquarius, which is an air sign, which is a yang sign, a supposed masculine sign, because it's the sign of the mind, of mental activities. But it's also the sign of the humanitarian, of the egalitarian. And I believe we really are transforming to be a more humanitarian and egalitarian society. People are clapping back now against the rising authoritarianism in many ways. It doesn't always look like it, because the resistance seems to shout loudest but believe me, I see it everywhere if you look for it. So it's happening. I'm wondering if there's anything else I want to talk about. Nope, except that I just want to talk about overall that this eclipse season we'll have this new moon eclipse, and then we'll be followed by a Scorpio full moon eclipse 2 weeks afterwards, is the last eclipses with these nodes in Taurus and Scorpio. And we've been, the South Node in Scorpio has been asking us to let go of this, hold on, this attachment to power, manipulation, the shadow of Scorpio, the tendency to overpower and disempower others. And we've been asked to move towards that Taurus, that more sustainable, that more solid, more creative, Venusian kind of energy. And then we have the Aries new moon opposing that exact Libra star point, Venusian. Venus rules the sign of Libra as well. We are moving into a more Venusian age. And this is why I work with Venus so much. I think we'll have to look at the symbols now. I could go on forever. I just want you to know that this is a big eclipse. If you have anything around at the very end degrees of signs, you will be impacted by this greatly. My ascendant's at 28 degrees Sagittarius, so this eclipse is trine my ascendant. You will feel this burst of the new coming in and this shift and change coming, but I think we're all going to feel it. It's a very big eclipse. So let's move on to the symbols. All right. So I'm going to read the Chandra symbol first. Sometimes I read the Samian symbol first, but this is a strange one. An anatomist delivers a lecture on the kidneys. Now, the kidneys are part of the cleansing and elimination parts of the body, which is kind of interesting. So anyway, let's read what the interpretation is by Elias Lonsdale. Knowing about the things that others would rather pass on by, absorbed within the excremental, the margins, the cracks, preoccupied with matters of critical awareness and pragmatic considerations. You somewhat decadently repeat over and over again patterns of viewing yourself and others as dysfunctional machines or poorly put together bits and pieces, being so conversant with the little mind that you are a walking encyclopedia of trivia, having made it your business to specialize in determining what has gone wrong, what is the problem here, ultimately and essentially playing back variations on one's self-image as being off course and hopelessly wrong-headed, given to exaggerated negative impressions, at times even condemning self and the world to being unworthy and unredeemable. Now that figures for me because we're at that anaretic degree for this. We're looking at people, at their selfhood, at our identity and ourselves and going, ugh, I don't like what I see. But we're at that anaretic degree and we are ready to leave that behind right now. I don't think we are unredeemable, but you may feel some of that because eclipse is a very intense energy. You may find yourself looking at the world and going, oh, this is all, terrible and humanity deserves to die kind of thing. I've heard many people say things like that, and I may have said it myself every now and again. But it's you get the idea. It's more of caution, that symbol, that this is what might be being brought to the head on this eclipse as we move into this new paradigm. For example, we'll be seeing people like Putin and Trump. Their nastiness is being revealed, all right, on a day. And a note to any trolls who are watching, I don't think I've got any because I kind of ward them off a little bit. If you are a supporter of Trump, and you feel the need to leave a comment, you will be blocked, because I see you as whole. I see you as healing on this eclipse. I hope the words resonate with you a little bit, but any unpleasantness in my comments will not be tolerated. All right, so let's read the Sabian symbol for this. It's a duck pond and its brood. The realization of natural boundaries. After the previous, what is shown here is that every form of activity has its limits, and that even the consciousness that has been able to get a glimpse of universal order has to bring down to its own karmic field of operation the message of harmony it has heard inwardly. Peace and inner contentment with one's essential destiny or dharma is required to meet the everyday world. The mystic may experience flights of imagination and transcendent vision, but he must return to the concrete earth and to his task in his social environment. Extensive as the latter may seem, it is still very small compared to the galactic field. It is indeed a duck pond compared to the ocean, but it is there that the substance for concrete action has to be found, and every effective activity has to be focused. Thus, the boundaries imposed by the very nature of this activity have to be consciously accepted. And he said, power must accept the principle of focalization. We're really being asked to bring it in on this eclipse. We're being asked to focus in on that focalization on our part and our essential destiny, which is humanness. We are here. We are in a human suit. We are here to work with each other and to be useful to each other and to serve each other. So on that note, I really thank you again for all the support for my podcast and for this YouTube channel. And please subscribe, give me a thumbs up, leave me a comment, check that little bell, and maybe check out my swag below, because I think it's rather fun. Here's my t-shirt, the Cosmic Owl. Here's one of my mugs, the Cosmic Owl. There's various options. Love you guys. I will see you next time.